let's start today's news. There are various important developments with respect to India-China relations. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is in India, and PM Modi is going to visit China after 7 years for SCO summit. He is going to land in China after 7 years. And Wang Yi is in India for 24th round of boundary talks. And our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said that India and China should follow constructive approach in maintaining the relations. India and China should follow a constructive approach. So particularly, we want certain things from China like fertilizers, like rare earth metals, active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, all these things. Now, Wang Yi have said that India and China, these relations are very important for China also. Most importantly, I can tell you, in India and China relations, China have given a statement saying that India confirmed one China policy, stating that India is willing that Taiwan is a part of China. But India have not given such confirmation yet. India have not given such confirmation yet. The other important thing that is coming up in IR with respect to India, China and Russia is RIC, Russia, India, China, Trioca. Russia, India, China, Trioca. Actually, the idea of RIC emerged after Cold War. After 1991, when Soviet Union disintegrated, the idea of RIC emerged. On the one side, America is fostering that, promoting that. America is considering that world have become unipolar, and world wanted to say that world have become multipolar. So in this context, the idea of RIC started, and from 2002 onwards, foreign ministers, officials, and leaders of RIC countries have conducted almost 2 dozens of meetings up to 2021. In 2020, you all know that we have a Galwan Valley clash between India and China. In 2021, there is a virtual summit during COVID, virtual summit of RSC foreign ministers. After that, from the last 3-4 years, nothing was moved in RSC. And Russia, after Russia-Ukraine war and after Russia facing sanctions from Western countries, Russia wanted to rejuvenate the RIC, but India have not officially confirmed the rejuvenation of Russia, India, China. But the talk is going on with respect to RIC, Russia, India, China, trilateral cooperation. And most importantly, you all know that Russia, India, China can counterbalance America, can counterbalance the America. This is a very important thing that is going on in IR. And the other important news that is coming up is, can China and India come together and counter the American hegemony in world politics? Can China and India come together and counter the hegemony of American world politics? In the era of Trump 2.0, even the most deadliest enemies, they have to come together with respect to Trump's hegemony. It's very important. As former American diplomat Henry Kissinger said, it is dangerous to become an American enemy and more dangerous to be an American friend. Okay, it is more dangerous to be an America's friend because America's nature itself, America's foreign policy itself is unpredictable. So in this context, now China and India are showing a new bonhomie, a new friendship. But there are various hiccups between India and China relations. The trade between India and China is around $118 billion, but trade surplus hugely is in favor of China. India is facing a very big trade deficit with China. This is one big obstacle or hiccup in India-China trade relations. Second important thing is, even today, China is claiming entirety of Arunachal Pradesh, 90,000 kilometers of Arunachal Pradesh. China wants the entire Arunachal Pradesh, the 90,000 kilometers of Arunachal Pradesh. The third thing is, recently, Prime Minister Modi have wished Dalai Lama on his birthday. Even China disliked it. So China never wanted Dalai Lama to be recognized, at least to get an asylum in India. So these are the few things. But India and China are very important because They both constitute almost 3 billion population in the world. They both together constitute 3 billion population in the world. Both the economies put together $24 trillion economies. And most importantly, rise of Asia is possible. Regional stability and security is possible only with India and China bond harmony or friendship. And you all know that China is the second largest trading partner to India, and both are good producers, and both markets are very huge. So India and China relations are very important even with respect to climate change issues, WTO issues, and other issues. And the other important news with respect to IR that is trending is de-dollarization of the world economy. De-dollarization of the world economy. In fact, this concept of introducing new currency to counter dollar was into discussion last year. Cousins, BRICS summit at Kazan. BRICS summit at Kazan. Even Putin, the Russia's President Putin, have appeared on the platform of Kazan summit with a prototype banknote of BRICS named Unit. Named Unit. And after that, there's so much of discussion that is going on with respect to de-dollarization. And many countries are now uh, keeping their assets in gold, and some countries are trying to have even in cryptocurrency. Most of the central banks are bringing back their gold. Though India is not confirming with respect to de-dollarization, because even if you speak about de-dollarization, still more than 54-55% of the world trade in value is going on with respect to the payments are going on in dollar. And second thing, the forex reserves. The forex reserves mostly are in dollar currency in most of the countries. So if you observe the dominance of the dollar in world markets, it's very difficult immediately to control it, immediately to check it. And even payment systems, we are trying to provide alternatives. Russia created its own payment system. China created its own payment system. Because Russia, 3 years back, Russia was suspended from SWIFT payment system. So there are many things that are going on in the world. World politics are now, I can say, anarchical. They are anarchical. The complete world politics are anarchical. There's something tough is going on in the world politics, completely anarchical. And can BRICS substitute America? Surely, if BRICS grow, already BRICS is a group of 10 member countries. If BRICS grow properly, they come together properly, at least BRICS can provide an alternative for American hegemony. But many things are moving. Something substantial will be announced in the near future. That we can assure with respect to Russia, India, China relations. This is a trend that is going on in the world politics with respect to Wang Yi visit to India, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's visit to India, and Indian Prime Minister Modi's visit to China, upcoming visit to China with respect to SCO summit. So this is a trending news. And the next important news that is coming up, the next most important, we all know that Mr. C.P. Radhakrishnan, the present governor of Maharashtra, the former governor of Jharkhand, and the former in charge governor of Telangana, also Puducherry in Telangana, now he was NDA's vice presidential candidate. NDA's vice presidential candidate. And India bloc, the opposition bloc, vice presidential candidate was Supreme Court retired judge Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy. Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy. The India bloc officially announced former Supreme Court judge Judge B. Sudarshan Reddy as its candidate for the vice presidential election scheduled for September 9th. Reddy will face C.P. Radhakrishnan, the nominee of ruling NDA. The announcement came from the Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge after a meeting of the India Alliance to finalize the candidate. After a meeting with the India Alliance to finalize with the candidate. So, Justice Sudarshan Reddy, former judge of the Supreme Court of India, was born in Andhra Pradesh. Justice Sudarshan Reddy began his legal career in December 1971 when he enrolled as an advocate in the Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh. He commenced his practice in Hyderabad and argued extensively before the High Court of Andhra Pradesh. And he was an expert lawyer and also a judge. He was an expert lawyer and also a judge. And let's feel happy and celebrate that judge from who is from Telugu origin is now contesting. Winning or losing is a different issue, but contesting with courage is a big thing. So most probably C.P. Radhakrishnan will win as he has a support of the ruling party, ruling government, even Telugu Desam, Jansena, all announced their support to CP Radhakrishnan. So, but a Telugu man going up to that place is something big for all of us. Coming back, next important and interesting and drastic shocking news. China's Kaiwa technology. China's Kaiwa technology develops pregnancy humanoid robot with artificial womb technology. Very soon, humanoid robots are going to deliver the babies. According to China's Kaiwa technology officials, its CEO Dr. Zhang Qufeng. Dr. Zhang Qufeng. What if robots give the birth? What if from fertilization to conception to delivering the baby, if all will be done in a robo womb, artificial womb, inserted in a robo? This was a question. So, in the 2025 World Robo Conference in Beijing, held at Beijing, Dr. Zhang Qufeng, founder of Kaiwa Technologies in China, he unveiled a plan for a humanoid robo pregnancy system. Humanoid robo pregnancy system powered by an artificial womb. It was powered by an artificial womb. So the first debut and a first prototype idea implementation will be generated in 2026. This breakthrough could transform fertility treatments, reproductive medicine, and even scientific research. The robo's artificial womb completely mimics like a real pregnancy. Completely mimics like a real pregnancy with a synthetic amniotic fluid and a nutrient delivery system that supports fetal development from the conception to birth. According to the New York Post, this next generation innovation aims to do more than just replicate biology. It could revolutionize how we define parenthood, offering hope to those who are unable to conceive. But it raises many fundamental questions. Motherhood. Motherhood is the exclusive privilege of a woman. If you delegate even that function to robo, then the nature system will be questioned. And more importantly, uh, a mother enjoys the days of pregnancy, and that I can say the emotional connect between the mother and the baby will also be missing. And if tomorrow robots started producing babies, the number of babies, what are the next things that are going to happen in the world? So this is highly disastrous concept of science, breaking the frontiers of robotics and reproductive science. I can say it is breaking the frontiers. It is it's going beyond the frontiers. It's crossing its limits. It's crossing its limits. But in it only costs around $14,000 very soon to get a robotic artificial womb and deliver a baby. It only costs 14,000. For the people, for the couples who are childless, they can get this. And for the women who cannot take the complexities of pregnancy, then it is very difficult to deliver the baby. So they can rent a womb, something like alternative to surrogacy. It is something like an alternative to surrogacy. So think about it. Just think about it. It's a big thing that is going on.